Hello everyone. So now let's discuss the fourth video of introduction management, which is your foundational terms and concepts. So basically what we are doing in this particular video, that we will discuss some of the terms and terminology which we will so often use in this entire coursework. Previously, we completed our professional responsibility, the code of conduct, where we had 5 sub-chapters. But now let's start going into the real PMP. I would say, if you ask me personally, the real PMP is something which we would start when we do the first knowledge area, which is integration. But again, prior to going into the knowledge area, we need to understand those concepts. That's very important. So first of all, I have been talking about these terms like 49 processes, 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas. So first term is processes. What is a process? What am I referring about? So process, it's a package of inputs, tools and outputs used together to perform something valuable. So if you have your ITTO sheet with you, go and see the first and the second tab, specifically the second tab. Each process is divided by inputs. So if you see, there are inputs and then we have some tools which are working on those inputs to give something valuable, which is your outputs. So tools work on the inputs to give you something valuable, which is output. What certification are we doing? It's known as PMP, Project Management Professional. But what is this project? Think of an example of a project as something which is unique, something which has never been done by the performing organization, something which is time limited, temporary. So by temporary, I mean it has to have a definite end time. Like for example, developing a brand new EduHubSpot website. This is a brand new project and the duration of this project is, let's say, 6 months. I need to make sure that within 6 months this project gets completed. That's a project. What is a program? So at the lowest level we have the project which has certain set of requirements to be completed in a certain time. Program, on the other hand, it's a group of related projects managed together, usually to realize some common efficiencies. So now I don't have one project, I have multiple projects, 1, 2, 3. They all report to one particular program. So for example, PMP program at EduHubSpot with both virtual and classroom training session. So again, I would say PMP for us, it's a program. We do virtual training. I'm teaching the same concept over there. So these projects are related with each other. Then we do classroom. Then we do something for organizations. Then we also have our simulator, which is our product, where we perform the same things. Like we actually teaching you the same concept. So programs often include ongoing operations also, like maintenance is a constant part of our program. Like we have to maintain the website, we have to maintain the social networking and the communications with the students, so that we make sure that students are getting all the help they need. At the topmost level, we have a portfolio. For example, IT training certification portfolio at EduHubSpot. So portfolio, it's a group of programs or group of projects which is intended to achieve a business result. So think at the topmost level, I have a portfolio which is IT training. Under IT training, I have one program which is PMP. Then we have a program which is ACP. Then we have a program which is PBA, the business analysis. Then we can add few more, like the risk management, the schedule management. Then under program PMP, we have different offerings. So at the very top, IT training, that's the portfolio. And the basic purpose of the portfolio is to achieve a business result. Then we have operations. So series of tasks or functions which are ongoing and repetitive. Like for example, EduHubSpot call center operation to handle the support issues. So like for example, if you have some issues, you did not get the access, or you have some kind of issue in the software and things like that, then your call would be routed to the support function. So that is an operation, which is something ongoing, and the team does the same task over and over again. That's operation. So let's see the relationship between project, program, and portfolio. So project is at I would say at the smallest level. Program, since a lot of different projects are involved, so programs are at a second level, and finally at portfolio level we have the the organization strategy, something which will talk about the organization strategy, what things we need to achieve to make sure that business achieve the business goals are met. That's at a portfolio level. So then we have this OPM, Organizational Project Management. So what is this OPM? It's a framework where project, program, and portfolio are integrated together to achieve the strategic business objectives of the organization. So each and every project you do, each and every program you do, and each and every portfolio you do, the end goal is to make sure that you meet the business objectives of the organization. So OPM's basic purpose is to make sure right projects are selected and right resources are assigned to it. So first of all, we need to be very careful that we do good projects. Okay, if we don't select a good project, it might negatively impact our organization's progress. So we have to be very careful while selecting the project. And if we select the right project, even more important job is to make sure that we get right resources working on that project. So that's your organizational project management. Then project phases. The entire project is actually divided into phases. Like for example, as the project progresses, stakeholders' ability to influence the project decreases. So what happens in the beginning, stakeholders are a little confused. They are little concerned that what if this course is not what they're looking for. So they will try to give more and more requirements in the beginning. They'll say, Varun, why don't we do something like this? Varun, why don't we do it little differently? But as the project will progress, as the things will align up, there would be a level of trust which the stakeholders, you guys, will have with me. You will start listening to the videos. You will start developing that trust. You will start understanding that yes, I'm getting the concept. So slowly and gradually, your influence will decrease, and you will start trusting the people those who are working with. Similarly, risk of failure also decreases. See, in the beginning, the risk of failure is always the highest. What if you are not able to continue this study? So in the beginning, there would be a lot of moments, when you might have to, where you might want to give up. See, this is not, I would say losers give up in the beginning. You need to be very focused, and trust me, you will get all the support you need, but you need to make sure that you clear the exam. You do your hard work. Do this hard work, give these 2 months to me, and trust me, I will make sure, I promise you, I'll get this 3-letter word after your name. Cost will usually rise up to a point and then decline. So why it is so? You start from the bottom, you go up in the execution stage where your maximum time is being spent, where you have the most number of resources. So that's where your cost will, at a high point in the middle. And then finally, as the project will progress, you will start releasing the resources, and finally, all the resources would be gone. So that's your, cost. Then we have different relationships, so basically we have 2 types of relationships: sequential and overlapping. So sequential relationship is like a phase starts only when the previous phase is complete. So for example, if I have different phases, like phase 1, I have the website. Then phase 2, I have the Android app development. And then phase 3, we have the Apple app development. Now, sequential relationship, what will happen in sequential relationship is that first I will complete the phase 1, which is website, and then only I will take a decision whether it is really worth to go for the phase 2, which is Android app or Apple app. Overlapping relationship is, but if you see the phase 1, which is sequential, it will consume more and more time. What if I would have done these things in parallel, I would have, saved little time. Overlapping relationship is another thing. A phase starts prior to the completion of the previous one. It may require additional resources, may increase the risk, and can result in rework. So like for example, what I'm doing, I started phase 1, I started it for some time, I did it for let's say a month or so, and then I started the phase 2 development. Now what I'm doing things in parallel. But if you ask me personally what I'm doing, my concentration is also on the website, my concentration is also on the Android app development, my concentration is also on the Apple app. So all the 3 things are being done simultaneously. I definitely need more resources in order to do that. So it is little more risky, but of course, if timing is crunch, and for me timing is the most important priority I have to give, then I would prefer to do the overlapping relationship. Okay, so next we have the kill point or exit gate. So kill point or an exit gate is a review which is taken care at the end of each phases. So why I do that? Because I really want to know if the project should continue or not. Is it really worth to do the Android app? Is it really worth to do the Apple app? We sometimes have to take those hard decisions that yes, it is not worth. So again, the different names of a kill point it's also known as kill point, exit gate, or phase review, or stage gate, or phase entrance, phase exit. So if they are using these terms, this means they are talking about the kill point. Then we will use this term progressive elaboration a lot whole through your PMP coursework. It's a popular concept in project management that project details will often be revisited and refined. So what are you doing is that, not everything is known upfront. You don't know what are the complete requirements of your project. So what you will do is, you will first start with few things. You will develop a prototype. You will show it to the customer. The customer will see, provide the feedback, and then you will move ahead. So that's progressive elaboration. You are progressing and elaborating your concepts, your knowledge about that product. That's progressive elaboration. Rolling wave planning is somewhat similar. We do the same thing in rolling wave planning also. We start at the beginning, whatever things are known, we try to build a prototype, and as more and more things become, things become like, we come to know about those things, then we will keep on adding it to the product. The certification is project management professional, right? So we did what is project, but what is this project management? It's a use of knowledge, skills, and resources to accomplish the requirements of the project. See, what is the requirement of this project, what you're doing? The main requirement is to make sure that you get this word PMP after your name, right? That is why we are doing this course. That is why we are, learning these concepts. So first of all, the use of knowledge. You're using your knowledge, what you have learned in real life, right? You are using those skill set you have developed in order to appear for the exam. You are using these resources, like these videos, these would be the resources which would help you to make sure you succeed the exam in first attempt. So project management, it's a combination of your knowledge, of your skills, and some resources, like for example, your laptop, your phone you are using to practice the questions. All of those things are part of project management. Historical information, in particular records that have been kept on prior projects. So historical information is another common term which we will see a lot. Like for example, the lessons learned, you can call it like that. That whatever things which have been done in the past, some good things or some bad things, we wanna, if they are good things, we wanna replicate those good things on this coursework, right? You might go and talk to your friends, colleagues, those who have already cleared the PMP exam, and you might ask them that what are the good things which help them, and you may wanna do the same things. Baseline, the original plan plus all approved changes. So you'll see this term baseline a lot, and specifically baseline is about three things, which is scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. What do I mean by this word baseline? It's the original plan. Like for example, I told you that I'm giving you $10,000 on your project. So that's your original budget given to you. Plus, then after a while, I said that, you know what, I need you to develop a new feature, which will cost additional $2,000. So now your new baseline would be $12,000. So that's baseline, the original plus any approved changes to that. It could be for scope, schedule, or it could be for cost. All of these things will report to the project management plan. They are part of your project management plan. Lessons learned, just like historical information, same thing. What you would have done differently to avoid variances between what was planned to happen and what actually happened in a project or phase. So again, lessons learned is the same thing, right? There might be some good things which you would have learned from your past projects. You want to use those good things on your project. You want your project to be successful. You want your customer to be satisfied. Similarly, on the other way around, there might be some issues in the past project. There might be some things which did not go as per the plan. Again, you don't want to make those same mistakes. You don't want to repeat those mistakes. That is lessons learned, right? You will have all those information documented in those lessons learned. Then we have the project life cycle, the flow from phase to phase, from the beginning to the end of the project. Project life cycle can be predictive or adaptive or incremental, and there are many more. We will be discussing those development life cycles in a while. But just think the flow from one phase to another. Like for example, the flow from our website to the Android app to the Apple app, from one phase to the other. Then we will use this term work authorization system a lot, which is a system to ensure that project works gets performed at the right time in the correct sequence. So basically doing the right thing at right time in right format. So doing the right thing at the right time in right format. That is your work authorization system. Like for example, this course for you. You did the right thing, you're doing the right thing, you started early, you are planning, you are watching the videos, you're trying to improve the concept. So this is the right thing. At the right time, I'm not really sure that's the right time. It depends from case to case. There are few folks which start pretty early, so for them it's the right time. But trust me, you know what? It's never too late. Now you are on the safe hands, you are on the right track, and you're doing your best. The only thing you need to do is it's in the right format. And the right format is actually, this is something which, if you reach out to us, we may, after discussing with you, we may come up with a study plan based upon your needs, based upon your availability. That's the right format. And to be honest, I can tell you the right format. First, watch the videos, then read the PMBOK, then solve the knowledge area questions first. That's iteration number 1. Iteration number 2, repeat, and now start solving the full length test. The 4 hours, we want you to practice for 4-hour questions as well. We want you to understand that your real exam is 4 hours, and that might be challenging. So you need to keep yourself prepared for that. That's your, the study plan format. So basically that's your work authorization system. Then we will use these 3 terms a lot: work performance data, work performance information, and work performance reports. So work performance data, it's the raw observation and measurements identified during activities performed to carry out the project work. For example, the raw observations. What is the first raw observation you have taken this course? You have probably watched 2 or 3 videos, or probably might more. You might say that, oh, Varun is not good, or Varun is great, right? There could be, several, you might have built certain kind of raw observation. So when I'm talking about a raw observation, I'm talking about the work performance data. But when, as the project will progress, you start building that trust level with me. You will start to have more information about the things. that is your work performance information, which is like your cost and schedule indicators. Like if I say my project is doing good, what does good mean? Good for somebody means that you are on budget. Good for somebody means that you are under budget. So again, it depends, right? So work performance data was just at a raw observation level. Work performance information is at a more definitive level. And from work performance data, we move to the work performance report, where all those information is actually represented in some kind of report, like status report, which we send out, or like, the dashboard, the memos. One thing to keep in mind is your work performance data always gets converted into work performance information, and your work performance information always gets converted into your work performance reports. When I'm talking about this conversion, I'm talking about your inputs and outputs. So when your input is work performance data, which will happen for your monitoring and control processes, so that data will get converted into information. So your output will be the information. In few cases where your information is the input, your output will be the work performance reports. Okay, now let's talk about these development life cycles. So first we have the predictive life cycle, a waterfall model where project scope, cost or time are determined in the early phases of the project. The most common one, the software development life cycle, where what are we trying to do is, we are trying to determine the scope, the cost, the time and the early phases, and then we are, going through the process one by one. We have a definite and a very specific change request process. Okay, that's your predictive life cycle. Then we will move to the next one, which is your iterative life cycle. Scope is determined in the early phases. However, time and cost are constantly updated as the project will progress. So first of all, you will determine the scope. Then you will build a series of iteration. And then in each iteration, you will work towards something, like you will do plan, develop and feedback. Again, you will do the same thing, plan, develop and feedback. So basically what you are doing, you are building a series of iteration to come up with a full-fledged product, right? That's your iterative cycle. So again, these are a series of repeated cycles. That's iterative. Then we have the incremental life cycle, adaptive life cycle and the hybrid life cycle. So let's first see what is incremental. As more and more functionality is determined, the project goes through series of iterations. After final iteration, the project will be considered as complete. So incremental, this is actually based upon the iterations only. In incremental, you have series of iterations. In each iteration, you come up with something. Like for example, let me give you an example. Let's say you want to make a login page on the website. So in the first iteration, what you will deliver is, like for example, just a simple plain, name and the email name, email address, and that's it. Nothing more. So once that is done, you could see that your name is done, and you have mentioned your name, you have the email address and all those things. A basic functionality of the login page. Then when we move to the second iteration, what we will do, we will try to increase the functionality of that. Like for example, we'll probably add some Java, CSS related things which can help us to look that like the page looks more prettier. Or for example, you might add a functionality about the invalid credentials. What will happen if the person adds an invalid credential? What use case or what message he or she might get? And in the third credential, we might add the forgot password functionality. So what I did in incremental, I had certain set of iteration. Each iteration had certain functionality which was supposed to be done. And once that was done, after my third iteration, I could say that, okay, our login page is fully complete. Okay, so only after the final iteration, I'll consider this as complete, that yes, I could use it and use it for for the public. That's your incremental life cycle, which is dependent on iteration, different iteration. Okay. Now let's see adaptive life cycle. So adaptive life cycle, it's an agile process where scope is well defined before each iteration. So before I move into the iteration, I would say that okay, in these are the things which I will do. Once that is finished, I'll move to the next. That's your adaptive. Agile is one of the example of adaptive. Very popularly it is known as. Then we have the last one, which is the hybrid life cycle. Hybrid is a combination of predictive and adaptive. Predictive, if you remember, that was the waterfall model, right? So your fixed requirements would be done by the predictive life cycle, and the requirements which are constantly updating, changing, evolving, you will follow the adaptive, the agile approach towards it. Then you will see this term triple constraint triangle a lot, specifically in the integration management when we will be doing the perform integrated change control process. So what is this? It says a change in one constraint will affect at least one other constraint. That's your triple constraint triangle. I repeat, a change in one constraint will affect at least one other constraint. Like for example, if you want to add more scope on your project, it will have impact on at least either on time or on cost. Like for example, I'll go back to my customer and say that, okay, Mr. A, if you want to add more scope, I would probably need some more time. So if the customer comes back to me and say that, no, I can't give you more time, you need to complete it within that specific time, then I'll say that, okay, let me add some more resources on the project to get that work on time. If I'm adding more resources, this means my cost might increase, right? So again, at least one of the other two legs might change when there is a change. That's your triple constraint triangle. Then you will see this business document a lot. We will constantly talk about the business documents. So first of all, it's the responsibility of the sponsor to develop these business document. First, we have the business case. It's a document that will have the feasibility study to prove the validity of the benefits laid out in the benefits management plan. It will include business need, strategies, goals, objective, gap analysis, and the success criteria. So basically, business cases, why we are doing this project. What are the objectives? What are the goals of this particular project? It's all about, the project success. Will my project be successful or not? This business case will actually help you to gauge whether your project was successful or not. This business case will help you to take that go no go decision. That's your business case. Then in the benefits management plan, this is the document which is all about benefits. How and when these benefits will be delivered, how to measure these benefits, anything and everything about benefits. Like for example, what are our target benefits? How they are strategically aligned to the project objectives, how these benefits, what is the time frames, when are these benefits would be delivered, who is the owner of these benefits, what is the matrix I'm checking against this benefit, what are the assumptions on these benefits, what are the risks on these benefits. So it's all and everything about benefits. Then we will see these project triggers, that why we really need the project. This is one thing which is actually part of your business case, that why we need it and why do we even start doing the project. Like for example, if I ask you, why do you want to do PMP? You may say that, Varun, it's the market demand, everybody is doing it, it's pretty popular. Sometimes you may say it's an organizational need, I'm doing it because my organization wants me to do it. Sometimes we may say that, it's a customer request, that's why I'm doing it. Sometimes it's a technological advance, there is a change in technology, like, that's why, people are doing it from 5th edition to 6th edition. Sometimes it's a legal requirement, that's why you're doing it. Again, like for example, I remember I taught a course for one of the companies, and it was mandatory for those employees, like it was a government contract, I remember. It was mandatory for those employees that they have to do PMP if they have to work on government contracts. Sometimes it's a social need, sometimes it's an ecological impact. So again, it depends why you do a particular project. It may depend upon all of these factors. Then we have the project selection or benefits measurement method, an important topic. This is something which is part of your benefits management plan. You may get 3-4 questions in the exam out of this. So important. So first of all, we have bigger is better. First of all, if you are from the finance industry, then this is a good slide for you. Okay. But if you're not from the finance industry, you will say that does it mean that this slide is not good for me? No, I won't say that. First of all, as I told you in the beginning, that PMP is not very specific to any particular industry. So don't worry. I won't spend much time on this particular slide because what I want you to do is just understand the concept. No need to understand what does net present value means. No need to understand what internal rate of return means. I'm not here to teach you project management. I'm here to make sure that you select the best answer out of the 4 options in your real exam. I'm here to get you PMP. That's my real job, and that's why I will teach you this particular slide in a little different way. So if in the exam there are 2 projects A and B. A has a BCR of 1.2, B has a BCR of let's say 3.4. Which project will you select? This is an exam question, similar exam questions you will get on the exam. So it is benefit cost ratio, benefit cost. So as I said, bigger is better, right? So this means we will select project B. Similarly, if they say economic value add of project A is 1 million, for 2 is 3 million, which project will you select? B. So again, bigger is better. Select the project with bigger number. Okay. Similarly, on the other hand, we have smaller is better. In few instances, we have smaller is better, which is cost benefit ratio. Cost benefit ratio is opposite of benefit cost ratio. So if benefit cost ratio means bigger is better, cost benefit ratio means smaller is better. So sometimes they might confuse you by using these 2 terms. So you should know that BCR higher number is better, CBR smaller number is better. Then you will see this payback period. Like for example, if they say A has a payback period of 2 months and B has a payback period of 5 months, which project will you select? You want your money to be paid back to you early, right? You don't want to wait it till the end. So you will select the one with smaller number, which is A, which is 2 months. So that's your payback period. Okay. Next is, sometimes in the exam they might give you a different type of questions. Like they might give you 3 values. Like they might say that A has a IRR of 3%, B has a IRR of 5%. So first we talked about the IRR. Then they might say A has a NPV of 1 million, B has a NPV of let's say half a million. That's your NPV. And finally, they might say that A has a payback period of, let me explain it here. A has a payback period of 2 months and B has a payback period of 5 months. So all of these things are given to you in the same question. They have said A has a IRR of 3%, NPV of 1 million and payback period of 2 months. Which project will you select? And on the other hand side, B has an IRR of 5%, NPV of half a million and payback period of 5 months. So now which particular project to select? Now remember this thing that, and always remember, your project will always be given which has the highest NPV. So first your NPV will be the given priority, then you will give the priority to IRR and then to your payback period. So irrespective of whether A or B have both of the things in greater, you don't care about it. You will only select that answer which has higher NPV. So in this case, A had a higher NPV of 1 million. So you will just go for project A and that will be your answer. Always give the top priority to NPV, then to IRR and then to payback period. Okay. Then there is one more concept which is your opportunity cost, the cost of a lost opportunity. So for example, they will give you in the exam, they'll give you a project A and they'll say that if you select project A, you will benefit 2 million out of it. Similarly, they will say if you select B, you will benefit 3 million out of it. But you can only select one project out of it. So if you can select one project out of it, either A or B, the opportunity cost would be the cost of lost opportunity, the cost which you did not get. So like for example, if I decided to do project A for any reason, then the opportunity cost would be 3 million because I got the 2 million but I did not got the 3 million. Similarly, on the other way around, if I selected project B for any reasons, let's say because the benefit was more, I will get the opportunity cost would be 2 million. The cost of lost opportunity, the cost which I did not get. That's your opportunity cost. Okay, so this marks the completion of your foundational terms and concepts. Let's quickly do a revision. Focus on your project selection methods, how you select a particular project, the stuff which we did just recently, very important. Focus your understanding on the difference between a project, program and a portfolio. That's important. Then make sure you know the various type of development cycles, the predictive, the adaptive, incremental, iterative, all those are also important. And as always, take as many questions as possible. Next, we would be discussing the process framework where I will tell you the example of, the 49, the 5, the 10s. We have 49 processes, 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.